Glad to have you back. Now let's head straight to the equities market and take a look at the performance of the market the previous week. Now the NGX All-Share Index and market capitalization appreciated by 2.09% to close the week at 54,085.3 and 29.15 trillion naira respectively. However, all other indices finished lower with the exception of the NGX-Main Board index, which appreciated by 6.03%, while the NGX Asem and NGX sovereign bond indices closed flat. A total turnover of 1.84 billion units of shares worth about 27.2 billion naira in about 27,000 deals was traded last week by investors on the floor of the exchange, in contrast to a total of 3.021 billion shares, which was valued at 31.78 billion naira. Okay, so let's get talking now. Mr. Ambrose Amodian, Chief Research Officer, Investor Consulting Limited. He joins me here now to look at the performance of the market. Thank you for joining us.
Thanks again.
And good to see you again. It's the start of the week, and if you look at last week, it was a mixed market. And just like we've talked about these over and over again, which we expect up and down in the market. But for last week, what was the major driver for you, and what sentiment really played out last week? Apart from the factors, impact of the MPC and all the activities that are external.
No, actually, in any market of the world, what traders or investors really trade is news. But you as a trader, if you want to trade news, like me, I trade news through my charts. Why some use the market say and what they are hearing to buy. But because I'm a chartist, also I look at my chart to see the behavior of an investor or trader towards that news. Is it a positive reaction or a negative reaction, which the chart was to. That's why I said people that trade the charts instead of trading news, because the chart will tell you that. Because if you are looking at the news, you might be heard about. You want to see the behavior, and that's what the chart is going to tell you. Like we just asked, we saw a mixed market for the previous week, being the last full trading week for the month of May. And also, I would say that May also in Nigeria has also defied the mantra of sell in May and buy in October. Because the May, as we speak now, started on Friday. The month of May has been almost like 8.96 for no positive. It tells that our market is really changing the mantras and also changing the trend globally. For me, it's a good one. But one thing again is that for last week, the major factor that really drove the market, I would say, is just sentiment buying in terms of looking at Ether. For the first 2 trading days, as people are looking out for the MPC meeting, the outcome. On Monday, because they're not certain what to be, the market was down marginally. But on Tuesday, when it was made known to the public that they will kind of hike the MPR from 11.2, then the market reacted to that news. Guys, I say market is very sensitive to information, knowing that anywhere in the world when there's high interest rate, the equity market suffer for it, because funds will start leaving the equity market to where there is a kind of safety, even though the return is small, but people want to go to safety zone. But when interest rate is low, people want to take risk, and also because interest rate, because they know that funds also be leaving another no direction to equity market. It's just a regular flow of funds. But what we saw last week that the first 2 trading days of the week, we saw a red movement. Market was going down, but the life of Ether, after they are concluded their buyback buyback share program or event, see the price was up on Wednesday, and that was only stock that changed, because market breadth was purely negative. About 42 stock lost that same day, while only just 11 stock was up, but still market closed in green for the midweek. Then on Thursday, that trend was sustained. On Friday, the same thing. That's why I say it's a new wave of just enter now. But that new wave, it will be a function of what the market will kind of expect ahead of this Q2, end of Q2 numbers. Already we are entering the last month of the second quarter of the year.
Right.
But actually, a good investor or trader will think, already we are in the last quarter of the year. We've seen what happened in April and May. What's likely to be the position of these companies that are listed? Are they going to continue with their positive numbers? Ahead of it, this portfolio reshuffling or sector rotation will continue until the result start hitting the market in July. That's why in the month of June we're entering now, people already seen that the trend we saw in the month of May likely hit itself gradually, but let's see, observe a mixture, because the month of June most time is the month of position for the for the Q2 number. For me, I see that since May has divided this mattress sale, there might be a little correction in the month of June. especially the first half of June. There might be little correction because of market have rallied for.
But we have one more day to go. I mean, in the month of May.
No matter what happens today and tomorrow,
yes,
the month of May will not close in red.
So we expect that it's going to close
positive, and that is a good thing for the market. That is almost straight 6 years that the month of May are close positive to defy the global trend in trading that sell in May and buy and come back. What I'm saying is that as investor, they should start learning that our market most times doesn't go the trend of the global trend. What is happening globally? You can see what is happening globally because of issue in Ukraine and and Russia. Most markets of the world are going on seesaw movement up down today. Globally, but our market has maintained a straight, almost a 20 days straight up market. That something is driving the market.
But let me quickly come in here. I mean, you talked about trading the chart for some investors who don't even know how to, trade with chart. But sometimes they look at how fundamentally strong a particular company or stock is before they can move. So for those who cannot trade a chart, what are the escape route for them? I mean, to navigate this volatile market using the numbers that they see.
Like you just said, that is the fundamentalist. People that look at the earnings. Earnings will always be earnings, are to be good. For example, now let's say that earnings we are seeing today is telling about a past quarter. That means it's giving you a past position of the company and not true. But if you want to know what is happening, is the sentiment of the investor that the play out. That is what the chart is giving. That's why chart is telling you the reposition of activities. That is why any price stock close. That is the value the market has given that stock for that day. That's why chart is very well. If the stock close 20 naira today, at the end of the day, that is what market value that stock. But fundamentalists, those earnings are coming to tell you whether the company is doing well, which is good. We need it, but for a market like this now, we have already expecting Q2 number to come in July. What we do, we need to see whether the trend of the company in their full year.
Give us the position of the market at the moment. Perhaps using your charts to give us the position.
The chart already it's not on now.
Okay.
Yeah, but I think positively the chart is looking well because we already see a new wave of straight 3 days up market. But today will determine whether that trend will be sustained. What I mean is that as at that close of last week, we have about just 54 stocks on the user chart, while just about 23 stock gained for the week. Tells that market is still on the sell side, but because of the high cap stocks that are gaining, I think that we are seeing a balanced market. But I believe that this week will determine whether the market will continue that direction. We've also been the last few 3 days of the month, and it's not a month that's ending on a quarter. We don't see much changing between now and tomorrow. But I believe that investors that are in good position should not just panic. But I see that the market is still healthy because as market is trading above 52,000 market is still very strong until cross it down even to 51 before we now start panicking. But at this hour, let's just still because what attracted investors to those high caps are still in that high cap, especially Airtel have not really marked down for dividend that they declare. Also, we are seeing that the life of Dangote remain flat. Now MTN just pulled back marginally today because Airtel is moving up. I tell you, the next stock to target in that communication industry is MTN. That's what they are like you just read when we are introducing that the internet space, like another competitor coming in. But those that are in the market already have to know how to navigate the market and still be making money until the new competitor come into the market. I believe that Airtel and MTN has potential to kind of create wealth for shareholders or investors in the market.
I mean, talking about Airtel, for instance, the stock gained about 297 naira in a week alone.
That's 20% in a week.
Last week. I mean, what is it about? Because if you look at the activities of the market last week, telcos, oil stocks, and of course, industry part of the consumer goods also supported the movement last week. Yeah. But if you looking at that trend, I mean, are we likely to see that trend this week?
Yeah, I said this the first half of June, the month of June, we expect the market was delayed because of profit taking. Because we have seen a straight market, an up market, in the month of May. There will be little correction before reposition for the earning season for Q2 that will come in July. But I believe that what the market did in the month of May was an excellent, good for investors. They have created wealth, but let them know how to take profit. That's the only thing. Those that are afraid to take profit are forcing themselves to sell, even as their profit have reduced. If you are trade your plan, you know exactly want to exit a stock before the kind of trend happens. But if you are still in profit, nothing stops you to take your profit now. But I believe that after later adjustment, the market will also gather strength to to have a stronger up movement, especially if the numbers we saw in Q1 is repeated in Q2. That no matter what is happening, the being pre-election year, we might see also market making new. Now, even though they increase their interest rate, if the earnings of these components become stronger, I'll tell you, even the people that want to take risk in equity market will be there, because that is the only way you can edge against against inflation.
Let's specifically look at some of the top 5 gainers for the week and top losers for the week. For instance, industrial and medical gases Nigeria PLC with IMG gain about 190 kobo in the week. That's about 20% change there. This, of course, this particular stock, really have not even studied it, but we've seen a positive movement in this stock for the past 1 week now. So you want to ask, what exactly is their strength? Where do they drop their support from?
No, actually, if you have followed us on this platform, we say that when there is increase in price, company performance are bound to be positive. Because of price of gas have increased. These are their supply gas even for the healthcare, general gas business, and on that, for me, because of increase in gas, their performance has also going in that direction. And also mean that even as to speak now, globally, we know what gas, gas and everything is going for. I believe that was going to impact on BOC gas before they change their name. It's a good one, but like the shareholding structure also is very also tight. The shares is not much, and it's not there in the public. The few hands will also support the price, because that is one thing that investors should look at. A company that has a tight shareholding structure, there's a way that also support the price, because the price will continue to go up because it's in few hands.
So you feel it's a good buy for investors to take advantage of
yes,
this
investors that, but I would believe that they should wait for a correction. Let profit take it. It has gained almost 20%. People that entered that made 20% would like to sell down to take profit. Once they say you can call it jump in ahead of their Q2 number. Yeah.
I know you talk about we were trying to look at the oil stocks as well. The MRS Oil Nigeria PLC gained about 280 kobo. That's more than 20% in the week as well, closing at the end of the day 16.40 kobo. That's exactly the position of the stock at the moment. What do you think? Why do you think investors are still keeping or holding their position in this particular stock?
For me, there is a positive sentiment for that industry, but particularly for Miss Oil, I just mentioned, their numbers have not been too fantastic. What you see is just they're riding on the sentiment for the sector. For me, that's why investors in the market should know the leaders in the sector and the laggers in the sector, so that they will know exactly where to position. And when you see kind of environment like this, you go with the leaders in that industry. But for this company, yes, it has gained for almost 20%. You just said fine, but not on the strength of that strong fundamental, but because of the positive sentiment for the general sector is what is also important on that top. If I make such return in a week, nothing stops you in taking your profit.
Speak to the Oxycontin oil also made about 9.95% or more, about almost 10% in the week to gain about 3 naira 10 kobo, closing about 34 naira in the week as well. FTN Cocoa also did about 3 kobo in the week as well, but then nothing much. I wouldn't say it's that strong when you look at the rally in the shares of FTN Cocoa Processors last week.
Yeah, that is one of the agri sector that is there, but for me, it's just market sentiment. The stock have been going up and down. We're waiting for information that will move it up. Being a penny stock of below 1 naira, the price oscillating up and down. But that kind of stock, institutional investor will not look at that way. As I speak now, the big firm manager cannot look at that way. It's just for retail investor to go until there's a kind of information or a change, a leap from their performance before start attracting bigger investors and that kind of. For investors that are trading it, that are retail investors, but let's be very careful. But most times you are entering a stock that at the end of the day we are unable to say it becomes a problem. Then you'll be trapped in that kind of investment. In all these things, let investors look at stocks that are really liquid, marketable, so that anytime you go in, can come in easily. That is the kind of stock traders will trade with. A trader won't enter this kind of stock, because if you enter, you are the one pushing it stock. When you want to sell, you'll be down pushing it down. That's why you look for a stock that has good volume, that you can trade in and out without changing price much. That is where traders want to look at. Not this penny stock that there.
Let's look at the top 5 losers for the week. UACN lost about 27 3 naira 90 kobo. You have Global Spectrum Energy losing about 64 kobo in the week. Royal Exchange also lost about 16 kobo in the week. RT Briscoe and Jais Bank are in that category, are losing about 9 kobo and 12 kobo respectively. And so speak to some of these stocks, for instance, how strong fundamentally are they, and what is the direction?
No, if you look at them, I would say Jais Bank is what I would say that the fundamental is okay for ROTB school. I would say it's just market sentiment that have drove the price to the level. Now profit taking hitting the stock now. It's expected. For the other one you just call the first one there too. No, I believe that it's just a profit taking that is just affecting them. But for Jais Bank, the price was adjusted last week for a dividend of 4 kobo or 3 kobo. That's why the price was on that loser support. Jais, is one of the low cap stock in the bank, so that really I say they are doing well in terms of performance, and they are paying now since they listed on the exchange. Investors where they can give them reward. If no matter the small price you are selling, if you are giving reward to your shareholder consistently, they kind of look towards that kind of company to position, because there are some retail investors that they are only in the market for dividend. When they see that your price is low and your price then they kind of patronize you and stay put.
So it's possibly that we should see
reversal,
a positive reversal of these lows in the next.
Yeah, for Jais Bank, because it was marked down yesterday, last week, for a dividend of 4 kobo for me.
Now let's look at this week. Today is the first trading day of the week, and what is your outlook for the week? And what are some of the stocks for peak in your own view, and of course the sectors as well? Maybe you also need to speak to the sectors as well.
Actually, I will start that this week we expect a mixed market, because I said earlier that the market has rallied for most 20 to 21 days. What we're seeing now is profit taking, and it's going to last. I said till even the middle of June, because it was going up and down. Why people want to take profit then before another positioning ahead of the number will kick off. But for those that are designing that knows area that this sector or this industry has capacity to kind of also beat market expectation in terms of earnings, now is the time for that position in those kind of stock. I said earlier that if you look at the agricultural sector, you can see the contribution to GDP for Q1. If you look at the oil and gas sector, you can look at telecoms, and most of them, which of these companies are into interim dividend paying company, which sector has more company that pay them. This is what will guide investors to position for now till end of the month of June, because after the month of June, those that are paying interim dividend at the end of every half year, we start paying interim dividend. That should also guide, because these are the things also guide institutional investors on how to come back to the market. Now they have seen that MPR have been adjusted to 13%, and inflation figure we're expecting to come next week, from 15th of June for month of May. And if it comes and it hit around 17.880 or even 18%, that has already put those inflation come on another tight corner, despite the marginal increase in rate. Because I can tell you, as at last MPR what's it called, Treasury BG for 364 days, they moved from about 4.74 to about 6.49. You can see, because of increase in MPR, you can see that those fixed income market are seeing adjustment in their rate, improving their yields, which is good. But I tell you, when inflation comes at the end of May, that also tell them where are you standing. That's why I said most investors don't understand how to invest. We are confident that their earnings will maintain an uptrend, because they're able to pass the high cost of their production, increase their price, and they're still making money. That is where you should identify. That's why as an investor should take this opportunity that market is pulling back or correcting to position in a good stock.
I think a good place to leave it. Thank you so much, Ambrose Omolion, Chief Research Officer, Investor Consulting Limited. Thank you for coming.
Thanks for having me. Yep.
You're also watching Business Breakfast. We'll take a moment now, and after the break, the Central Bank of Nigeria latest reports disclosed that the country's external reserves hit a 7-month low, falling to $38.57 billion in May. We'll bring you details in our news update when we return. Please stay with us.